Hey everyone, how's it going? How's building going?
Pretty good.
That's good. Where's everybody at? Like, give me like an update on how much you guys done or something like that. Of course, it doesn't have to be finished, but just want to know where everybody's at.
We have a rough iteration of the wireframe already, or the prototype already worked out. It's not really responsive like when you click on it or anything like that, so we're reworking that. But we'll have that done by the deadline today.
Okay, definitely.
Hello, everyone.
The CEO just dropped it.
What's up, Kenneth?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Dominique, Blaze, Melvin, Yana, how y'all feeling?
We're doing good. How are you this afternoon?
I'm blessed. I'm feeling real good, to be honest with you. I genuinely can't complain. Dean has set me up for a good alley-oop, and I called Tammy Richardson, and we were talking about some prizes for you guys. I'm talking about some good stuff, some real good stuff. So Dean threw me an alley-oop, and I said, Dean, this is such a great pass. I'm just gonna hang in the air a little bit longer, just
go in though.
throw it between my legs, and come back in.
So we love prizes.
And that's collaboration. Yeah. And guess what? It was all done on Microsoft Teams.
There you go. We like the plug, my friend.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So yeah, I'm having a beautiful day. I am. Amir, it looks like you're getting some sunshine.
Me and Miss Zoe down here.
Yeah.
Who loves the balcony. Yeah, shout out to Zoe.
Zoe's been good this BDX.
Yeah, no barking. Barely any barking.
Love it.
Man, I've seen some interesting mirror boards. I'm getting excited over here.
Yeah, yeah. They're about to get even more interesting for real. We're gonna update those mural boards in a little bit, pop in some new content for you guys, especially centered around user testing. And I'm actually gonna walk you through a couple of even some ways to recruit users just using your platforms that you have existing. So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be real super fantastic. Did you all see the morning video from Jordan this morning?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
may or may not have seen it.
Okay,
what?
So listen, make sure you're tapping back into Red House to check out the videos. If you go to the Connect channel within Teams, BDX, and Microsoft, you should have a direct plug and play to Red House, which can allow you to see those videos, okay? So you just need to sign in with your Red House login, check out the videos, and you should be good to go.
All right.
Sweet. Sweet, 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 sweet.
Yeah, that's also where all the recap videos are. So if you want to watch like the act breakouts from yesterday, go ahead and just look on Red House.
Absolutely. Uh-oh, Trenae's in Red House. I see you. Red House is cool. I think so too. I think so too. So we'll give it about 5-7 more minutes to wait for the stragglers to come on in, and y'all got to give me some video today, man. Come on, it's Humpback Wednesday. We
If my hair was done, I would.
My
my
hair not
hair
done
not
either.
done.
Oh,
No,
Oh,
like
listen, my hair not done. What you talking about?
see, that works great for you, but you know, this picture is looking lovely of me. It's the best representation of it, you know.
Yo, y'all check out Dean real quick.
Ooh.
I had to go high tech on them.
Yeah.
oh, what's
Yeah, I
the
said-
name of that system?
This is the HoloLens. So this,
Oh, the
is-
HoloLens.
So
Yeah.
this is holographic computing. So taking 3D data and transforming it in some amazing ways. So
I love it.
imagine if you're a doctor or a surgeon, and instead of you holding up or someone holding up an x-ray or you looking across the room and taking your eye off the patient, now everything's mixed into your existing reality and you can see the x-rays and you can perform surgery at a optimal level. So that's one of the applications. In say design or architecture, being able to see the possibilities of changing direction or pivoting midstream on a building. Like if you had to add a different elevation, you can do applications like that without physically having to build it. So there are some really great applications for this, and of course, gaming and all the other fun stuff. But if you're looking for real world applications, this is where it's going.
That's so neat. Yeah. My
The
boyfriend just got the
yeah.
Oculus Rift. It's like a
Yeah.
giant helmet.
Yeah, it's getting better and better every time. I mean, this is the second edition. You know, this is the HoloLens 2. So it's a lot lighter. It's a better fit from the design aspects. And now you can see billions of polygons versus what they had in generation 1. So it's gotten a lot better. And then the applications that they've built, such as Azure Spatial and Azure Remote Rendering from capability standpoint, yeah, it's second to none. This is the state of the art right here. And a lot of what the Red House platform enables this. So, I mean, the students are seeing some great benefits to Red House virtual education, but this is an added component of that. So you'll be able to do 3D and create these immersive experiences because I don't see this pandemic letting up anytime soon.
Anytime.
You know what I mean? So you got to get some new experiences and provide new experiences for students and educators.
Yeah, definitely.
Just-
Especially because
Yeah,
like
Tammy might be able to pull it off, man. So I I sold it. I said, listen, we gotta have a back end on the Azure side, right?
Right.
So we could do
He
some
is
development.
that.
But listen, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. At the end of the day, if she's thinking about it, that's all I need. That's all I need. That's all I need. So I appreciate that big time. Big time. All right, we got 3:05. I'm gonna open up Miro and I'm gonna open up another video from my man Joe Knapp, or Jake Knapp, sorry, who wrote the book Sprint. Anybody heard of the book Sprint?
Yeah.
Sweet. Sweet. We're gonna get into a little bit from him and dive in here. The team's rocking. All righty. Innovators, talk to me. How's the experience been so far while I'm setting up here?
It's been good so far for Team 5, just having a lot of new input and new insight and making sure that we give the best version of our product. So it's all good.
That's cool. Give me like 2 or 3 insights that have been great from like the mentor sessions or just the conversations from the team.
Looking at different customer bases and different uses of a specific industry for your product. So that's always a good thing to hear.
Yeah. Good stuff. Appreciate that, Trinae. Who else wants to jump in there?
Team 7's been doing pretty good. I like collaborating with my team. I guess we kind of took a lot individually. We did take a lot from our mentors, and I guess they kind of groomed our take on our angle on the project. So like right now, we're just trying to, find what we have to try to put it together.
Gotcha. Love it. Somebody else give me some more stuff.
It was interesting to discuss features. I know like features are not, the end all be all of an app, but in terms of choosing features based on what service that you're providing, I didn't realize how much discussion would be needed for certain things, like whether to put the chat in one page as opposed to the other and why you would do that, and like the thought process you would want the user to go to. So like going into those like specifics like really helped to like help me break down the process of creating the prototype.
Yeah.
Because it can all be overwhelming, but you realize that there are all these like little steps.
Yeah.
That you've got to move through to get there. So
for sure. They kind of help us be more diligent, right? And kind of really get a sense of, okay, hey, if I take this extra step from a diligence perspective and really kind of think through this in a very engaging way, I can probably circumvent a future mistake or a future error in what I'm building or what I'm creating in a meaningful way, which could be real cool too. So that's one thing I gain a lot from it in that respect. So 1 second, I think there's just one little element.
And I just want to say shout out to Justin for like the templates and tools.
Yeah, that was real helpful.
Those are so helpful. On one of my partners, we posted something that Justin had sent him, and it made it so much easier because I was trying to create templates from scratch and not being super familiar with Figma, it was really time consuming. So like having something set was so helpful.
That's what's up. Yeah, Justin's amazing. He's head of design at Act House, and honestly, like him and I, when we get in the lab together, it's just such a party and a collaboration that I really enjoy working with him. He's awesome. Okie dokie. Cool beans. All right. Marcus, my man Marcus is back. Marcus, you're not missing a beat, brother.
Hey, how's it going? So I met with Team 5 today. I had a really good conversation with them, really engaging conversation. I
Yeah,
really like what they're putting together and what they're putting forward.
good stuff.
So yeah, it was a good experience on my side.
Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. All right, cool. Let's just crack in. It's about 3:09. Let's get into it. How I want to set us up is just let's have some loose conversation around user testing, what you all are thinking about those ideas of it, kind of get everybody's baseline. Then I want to get into a quick video. It's roughly about 5-6 minutes from my man Jake Knapp, who wrote the book Sprint, right? And just really kind of show an example of how kind of user testing could actually go and actually user interviews could flow. Then I want to get into some mirror board exercises, some templates that we have for you all that I'm going to load up in everybody's section and everybody's team board so you guys can have access to that. And then afterwards, I'm going to show you all like some very agile techniques and actually recruiting users. I mean, using like the actual power of your cell phones in order to really begin to engage with the population that you're trying to engage with, or like people that are already following you wherever you may be. Does that sound cool? Sweet. I see one head nod.
Yes.
See one head nod.
That sounds good.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Cool, cool, cool. I see some thumbs up. I'm gonna get those faces soon. Devin, Trinae. I'm gonna get y'all soon. It's all coming along. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk user testing. Like, as you all have thought about it, hey, like we started thinking about our user experiences. When you think user testing, like what comes to mind and what are your thoughts around it?
Well, I think it's kind of just exposing the prototype to real people, like real users, and just get feedback on design, acceptance. Probably you'll be checking out functionality because you might really design something for it to work a certain way, but from a user standpoint, they're not really trying to do that. So it's kind of just going through the bumps.
Gotcha. I like it. Somebody give me another one.
I was thinking that it was just, I guess, really to find out if it's what the users want. So I guess like you said, they give you feedback, so you basically get that question answered, see if they want it and what you need to fix to make them want it.
Good. Kenneth, talk to me. Devin, talk to me. Dominique, talk to me.
When I think of user testing, I really think of test cases. I think it from the software development point of view.
Okay.
And you're just using test cases, and then they're going to see if there's any defects in it. But totally different.
Love it. Very similar though. Very similar. Just another step of the process, right?
Yeah, I look at user testing and getting the feedback. If we go back to that image for minimum viable product.
Absolutely.
So you start with the skateboard, you get some feedback, you turn it into the scooter, get some additional feedback,
Yep.
turn it into the bike,
Yep.
then the motorcycle, then the car, based on all that feedback. And I think somebody described this early on in day one. It becomes a flywheel effect, so you get that continuous process improvement taking place.
Love it. Zoe, we're just answering questions on what do we think about when we think about user testing. That's all. So you haven't missed too much at all. So appreciate you for jumping in here. Awesome. So when we're thinking about user testing, I just kind of want to give you guys some simple breakdowns, but more specifically, we're going to focus on one to really begin to help you all target your efforts and really get into the type of customer feedback that you actually need. All right. So sometimes when we think about user testing, there's many different ways in order to facilitate that. Okay. It can be done through a survey, right? You can develop a survey to kind of gauge and understand the sentiment of your users or who your actual audience is, and really in the sense of how you're actually ascertaining information from them, right? It could be done through a user interview, okay? That could be done with a prototype, without a prototype, but honestly, something that's conversational to help you gain insights. And I like what Blaze actually stated, that word expose, right? It really begins to, your user testing process should begin to expose you to new insights and new information. It should begin to expose the bugs in your actual prototype or your build that you've actually created, as Dominique stated. right? And then also too, it should expose your own biases and your own assumptions, which I think is very, 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 very important, right? The reality is that the creation comes from the creator, okay? And so what your hands really begin to manifest from a standpoint of like what you're building digitally, what you're building in the natural, is going to have some type of values, some implicit assumptions, some bias, some thought process, some values wrapped around that, right? But I like the word that Blaze used, expose, here, to really begin to help us understand, okay, what is this user testing really all about? And I think that word expose, exposure, I think is very key to focus on here. So what I want to do is I want to switch us and really kind of focus on how you all are going to be focused around your customer interviews. And I'm going to share my screen and get into this conversation with Jake Knapp. And what we'll do is we'll go through a little bit of it and we'll stop, pause, have some conversation just to kind of gauge everybody's thoughts, and then get back into the interview, have some more conversation again to get everybody's thoughts as well. Everybody cool with that? Give me some ASL, hand claps, some thumbs up, okay? Head nods from Tammy, love it. Trinae, see you in the mix with a thumbs up. Devin, I see you, love it. And Dean, I think Dean's over there making some deals for you guys, so I'm just gonna let him stay focused on what he needs to stay focused on. Boom, he's laughing, so that means it's a good thing. It's a good thing. All right, cool. Let's dive in. Yeah, what's up?
Just a question, just a point on this user testing, because I'm usually on the receiving end for a lot of that user testing.
Yeah.
Key points is I dread when a person lets me in at the last minute. You know, they take one sentence from me at the beginning and then they go away in the dark room and code or do whatever and come back and say, here you go. And you're like, that's not what I asked for. Because most of the time, I don't know what I'm asking for, right? I might ask for a bike, but I really wanted a Corvette. But I didn't know I was supposed to ask for that because I needed a stronger motor. And so I'm looking for a technical person to tell me more.
Yeah.
And so I'm stressing that it needs to be along the way, and there are different gates.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that's a very important point to really bring up. And for all the innovators, please listen to that nugget. You know, as you think about each of you all's archetypes, architect, creative, techie, that every part of that process, every archetype is supposed to be highly focused on that end user. And as you start to collaborate between the three archetypes, you want to make sure that you are translating information from one point to another point to another point, right? As Tammy mentioned, hey, she might provide feedback in the beginning and it's like, hey, I think I want a bike. But if you actually spent time and listened to what she was actually going after and asked deep questions that began to expose, there's that word again, Blaze, appreciate you, right? Her true desires and intentions as a user, then you'll understand she wanted a 1969 Chevrolet Corvette, right? So you want to think about those things very deeply and intentionally and make sure that you're translating that information across the board. Tammy, that was a good point. Salute to you. I appreciate it. All righty, let's get inside of it. I'm going to need to hear if you all can hear this.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm a design partner at GV.
So okay, sweet, good stuff. So Jake Knapp wrote the book Sprint, and Sprint is a very it's a methodology in order for you guys to test, really kind of take ideas and manifest them quickly, build them and test them for the most part, right? This segment of the 5-act interview is really just a good case study to show you all how that interview process actually begins to roll out. And so I want to just go over this, and then from that standpoint, we'll get into some conversations around what you guys are thinking. And I just want to see what kind of insights you draw out from it. Sound good? Thumbs up? Cool.
Today, I want to talk to you about customer interviews. So if you're running a startup or a business of any kind, and you've got new ideas, things that you want to deliver to your customers, it can be really stressful. You want to know if these ideas are going to work when they hit the real world. So when we do sprints with the companies in our portfolio, we end every week with one-on-one customer interviews where we're showing customers a realistic prototype of a finished product. These interviews are kind of like fast forwarding into the future and seeing what's going to happen when the product is released. Now, running these interviews, actually talking to customers one-on-one, is something that anyone on your team can do if they follow the proper steps. And in our book about sprints, which I happen to have right here, we talk about how to run those interviews, but it's also really helpful to see what that kind of conversation looks like. So today, I'm going to introduce you to my colleague, Michael, and Michael is going to show you how these interviews look. So in our book, we describe a 5-act customer interview. In the first act, you're going to do a friendly welcome. You're going to put the customer at ease and describe a little bit about how the interview will work. This is how Michael does it.
Thanks so much for coming and helping me with this. Sure. I really appreciate it. Have you done something like this before?
I haven't.
Okay. Maybe I'll explain a little bit kind of what I'm up to. So when we're developing new designs and new ideas and things like that, we get to a point where it's really valuable to get some fresh eyes and some fresh perspective on it. And so that's how I need your help.
Okay.
What I'd love to do is just spend some time chatting with you about some stuff. It's pretty.
So real quick, what did he do in the beginning? Like, what did he just do? Talk to me.
He made her comfortable.
He made her comfortable, okay? How did he make her comfortable?
I like the fact that for one, he's not reading. Regardless, he asks questions. He's personalizing his intro to make it not seem so formal.
Good. Personalizing the intro. He made her feel welcome. How else did he make her feel welcome? How about, like, he stated his intentions pretty clear, right? There was no smoke screen. It was just like, hey, this is my objective. This is why I'm here. So now that person has a lot of that information, right? So when you think about even your customers, like that element of know, liking, and trust, oftentimes when you have awareness and exposure what situation you're walking to, you can begin to trust it. Was somebody saying something? I'm sorry.
No, I was about to piggyback off of what you just said. Okay. The whole thing is about building trust up front. If you're trying to get somebody to buy your product, you want them to trust the relationship from the beginning and the continuous. You don't want it to ever end. That's why I tell people, don't push the nuclear option ever, because customers will make you mad. And you always have to have the understanding that they're the ones who pay the bill. So you have to make them happy, and you have to learn how to negotiate with people and to get your way. Because ultimately you want that sale, right? And the worst thing I always tell people that someone can say to you is no. And
you
if
don't listen to no, Dean, you never listen to no.
No, it's not optional.
No, it's not now.
No, that just tells me, hey, I have potential. Now I got to figure out how to get them to yes, right? So that's how I look at it, and that's how you should look at everything. Be epic, be bold. Don't take no for an answer.
Indeed. All right, let's get back into the video.
I was just
go ahead. You got something?
He wasn't a know-it-all at the beginning. That's the big thing when again people come to me is like, I know all the answers anyway. I know what you want.
Yeah.
So yeah. Know-it-all, but more in a receiving mode.
Absolutely. No, I see that as well.
Hey Dominic, just a quick question. Do you think getting her comfortable or getting the user comfortable with a personalized intro would you would get more of an honest opinion?
Yeah, I think a personalized intro does help, but I want you to think in the respects of, okay, hey, here are the tools that I have in order to actually facilitate this conversation. And based on the user or the individual that's sitting in front of me or the individual I'm engaging with online, I know how to actually utilize those tools, right? So from a standpoint, just because it's a space that, one, I truly enjoy, which is arts and entertainment. Two, when it comes to the Act House, it's a space that we're also bridging into. At 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights, I host a panel called the Discovery Panel. And we bring in Grammy Award-winning artists, producers, songwriters, touring managers, like real people with some real background to really just have a conversation. And last night we had this conversation, it was very rich, very colorful, but I just kind of had my tool set as a facilitator to engage. But the week before that, I had to do a lot of work, right? Like a lot of pruning, a lot of peeling back. I really had to double down on making people feel comfortable, right? Just because of a user may come or individual may come with their own experiences, and you can't do anything about that, right? But your job as that interviewer, as the individual that is trying to understand, is one to, as Tammy kind of stated, right? Like, you're not coming in with all the answers. You're coming in with this kind of like genuine ignorance of, hey, like, let me explore, this genuine curiosity, right? And going back to Dean's point, as far as trust, you just want to make sure that, okay, hey, these individuals trust me, right? They trust me in this moment to have this conversation, and they know why we're having the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So think about it as the tools you're capturing in order to actually take it forward. Let's get back into the interview. No problem, man. Let's see here. Stop video. All right.
And then I'll show you some different designs and some ideas. I'll ask you a lot of questions, but I don't want it to feel like I'm testing you. I'm trying to figure out if these designs work, if they make sense, and so I'm testing the designs. And the way I'll do that is I'll show it to you and ask you to think aloud as you're looking at these. So I'm trying to see it through fresh eyes, see it through your eyes.
After the introduction, you'll probably be itching to bring out the prototype and see how your customer reacts, but not so fast. First, you want to learn a little bit about the customer. You're going to have a natural conversation in Act 2, but you're going to be asking some specific questions to learn some background info. So in this example, Michael wants to find out about the customer's exercise and fitness habits.
So maybe just for starters, can you tell me a little bit about the kind of work you do?
So I'm an executive assistant, and I've been doing that for about 8 or 9 years.
And so what does that involve?
It involves scheduling meetings, doing expenses, booking travel, and basically just making sure that the lives of my executives run smoothly.
It sounds like a...
So real quick, going back to Tammy's point, right? He's asking questions from a place of curiosity, right? You may have some built awareness of what an executive assistant does, okay? But he is asking questions from a place of genuine curiosity to explore and understand how does she, as an executive assistant, define the work that she does. All right, let's hop back in.
Yeah.
It's always a busy day.
Busy day. And what kinds of things do you do when you're not working? Do you have certain kinds of hobbies or things that you like to do?
Yeah, I like to go shopping. I like to hang out outside with my daughter, go to the playground with her, or go on a walk, hiking, things like that. Movies, hang out with friends, things like that.
And things like the hiking and the walking, are there other things like that that you do to take care of yourself, to keep in shape?
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a member of a gym, but I'm not now. And but I do like to stay active. So
real quick, what are some things that you all are observing about his body language and just his presentation? Talk to me about what you all are observing about his presentation.
That he's very relaxed.
He's very relaxed. Give me another one.
He's very invested in what she has to say.
Invest in what she has to say. Give me another one.
He's kind of pulling out a user persona story out of her to get a better understanding of her as a persona.
Right. So he's asking questions, and then he's providing follow-up questions to dive deeper into the information to understand the journey. Good stuff. What about his facial, like talk to me about his facial expressions.
They seem genuine.
You said it's ingenuine or genuine?
Genuine.
Okay, genuine.
Genuine concern.
Good. Genuine concern, genuine curiosity. What else about his facial expressions?
He's like sort of neutral, like he's showing that he's listening, and that he cares, but he's not giving a reaction to what she's saying, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
No shock, surprise, all that.
I like that.
I feel like he's trying to match her energy somewhat. I don't know if he's really trying to make eye contact in there, because some people, might think that's a bit too aggressive, but I feel like he's trying to match her posture. He's trying to match her energy, kind of.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, let's get back into it. All good comments, all good feedback.
I like playing tennis, and that's basically the only sport that I play. But I do like to, like I said, go on walks or go for a run or things like that.
So after about 10 minutes of conversation, you'll be ready to bring out the prototype. In Act 3, you introduce the prototype, and you want to do it in such a way that the customer feels comfortable giving you frank and candid feedback about it. You want to make sure that they don't feel like they're being tested in any way.
What I want to show you, this is a prototype of another app. And so what that means is that some things will work and some things might not work. But we'll just kind of try it, and there's no way to break it or anything. So we'll just kind of try it. And again, like I mentioned before, what I'm doing is I'm testing the prototype in these designs. I'm not testing you. I'm going to be asking you all the questions, but there's not a right or wrong answer. We're just going to try to, try it out and see how it goes, see what you think of it.
Sure.
So what did he just do there?
He said it. He actually said that earlier, and he was like saying that he took the pressure off her from like actually being tested. to
Right.
actually her criticizing the prototype and like making it not less stressful.
That's good, Jared. He reinforced, right, his main objective, right? When you're meeting someone and it's a new interaction, you kind of want to reinforce like why you're here, right? I always, when I taught leadership and professional development roughly about 6 years ago at Florida A&M University, one thing I will always akin the kind of like future employee corporate experience or company experience, I would always liken it to dating, right? And first impressions, okay? And also to building trust from a relationship standpoint, okay? Those same principles apply when you are thinking about building trust and building awareness and comfortability when you're doing user testing, right? You want to create an environment where someone can give you candid answers and also like they don't hold anything back, right? Because you have a short amount of time, but you want to make sure you get the most use out of that time as best as you can.
And again, as we do that, if you think aloud, it really helps me kind of see it through your eyes as we try this out.
In the real world, your product will live on its own. You won't be there to guide customers along and tell them exactly what to do and how to use it. So in your interview, to get the most realistic results possible, in Act 4, you're just going to give the customer some tasks. And you're going to mostly watch what they do, occasionally asking questions just to encourage them to think aloud.
What would you do if you were looking for a new fitness app like we were doing before?
Just search the store.
Okay. So you see this featured app. Yeah, so maybe let's take a look at this one. Okay, so what's going on here?
So it's asking when you like to work out. So days of the week.
So for you, what would you choose?
I would choose probably Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And then asks for the time of day. Probably have to do in the evening. It's asking to send notifications. Okay. Fit star profile, name, height, weight, age, and fitness goals.
And what's this?
So real quick, why is she speaking out loud?
Oh, I think he asked her to.
Absolutely, right? So he gave her a set of instructions, all right? And said, hey, if you could speak out loud as well as you're going through it, it'll kind of help me understand what you're thinking as you're maneuvering through the prototype, okay? Very important to actually provide that piece of information to the user that you're actually testing with.
Let's see, weight loss, muscle gain, strength, or overall.
So for you, what would you put in all this stuff, if anything?
So for the fitness goals?
For any of it, like what would you do with the screen?
So I would enter my height, I'm guessing feet and inches, my weight, which maybe I would lie a little bit, my age. I guess you shouldn't lie about your weight on a fitness app, but and then I'd probably select weight loss, maybe overall, because I don't really know what overall means, like if it means toning or stretching, things like that.
And what do you think each of these would mean?
So weight loss, you'll lose weight.
Real quick, what just happened there that was very important? And peace is something that you said a little bit earlier about his posture and how he was operating with the user. What just happened here in the past 15, 20 seconds?
Well, he leaned closer to her.
Okay.
Oh.
What's one thing that she asked, or excuse me, what's one thing that she stated that she was unsure about?
Like the options for the fitness goals. It was kind of, she was kind of showing like she was confused on
right,
like some parts.
Right. She said, I don't know what overall means. But how did he respond?
He asked her about like how does she feel about all the options?
Did he ask her what she thinks, or what is her definition of it?
Right.
To try to get like he said from the beginning, he's trying to see it through her eyes. So that's probably just another opinion or a different perspective. Like, what do you take on? What's your take on it?
For sure, right? And another thing too, he didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to Tammy's point about being a know-it-all, you don't like, it is not your role, it is not your job to answer questions during a user test, right? It is your job to listen and learn, right? just as you're going into your mentor sessions and asking a lot of questions, you should be doing the same thing here based on the set of tasks and the designs that you are looking to test. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was going to add, actually, in the 15 seconds, I saw her take ownership from him.
Yes.
He got the buy-in because she now's doing all the talking.
Exactly. She's in there. She's saying, I will probably lie about my weight a little bit. I probably shouldn't lie about my weight because it is a fitness app, right? Like it probably needs to be specific. But also even that insight alone, right? As Tammy said, she now bought in, he's getting additional insights that he's not even asking about. So if she said I might lie about my weight, how many other users would there be a plus or minus 5 pounds that is a margin of error when it comes to people identifying with their weight, right? And so there's a lot of additional insights that come out of it when you allow the user just to kind of take control, right? Good point, Tammy. Anybody else want to chime in? All right, cool, let's get back into it.
Muscle gain, I figure you're gonna get bigger muscles, which I don't really want. Strength, I kind of think is the same as muscle gain. At least I feel like the results would be the same. And overall, like I said, I don't really know what overall means.
At the end of the interview, you're going to ask the customer some debrief questions. So through the course of the first 4 acts, you'll have heard a lot, seen a lot of reactions. It can sometimes be hard to make sense of what's most important. In Act 5, when you ask these debrief questions, the customer will actually help you sift through everything you've heard.
So far as we've gone through this, I'm just kind of curious what you think of this.
I think it's interesting. I think it looks pretty cool. It's always nice to have someone or something telling you what to do in order to get the results that you want. So it's helpful to have it outlined like this. And they say, okay, do this many jumping jacks and then do this many push-ups. So it kind of lays it out pretty easily, I think.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think of the parts that you don't like as much?
I don't think it's a big deal, but I just think that there's maybe a few tweaks. Like I haven't seen a woman since the very first video. So that's kind of a market that I think they're losing out on there, unless this is going to be just tailored for men. But other than that, I think it's just kind of small tweaks.
And that's it. At the end of the interview, you'll thank the customer, give her a gift card, and show her up. Now, if you'd like to learn more about running these kind
Good stuff, good stuff. Now, I want to ask you all a question. Let's clap it up for Jake Knapp real quick. He can't hear us, but we appreciate the content. Definitely do. Now, I want to talk to you all about a couple of things here in that video. There was one other key factor of that, of the surveyor that was it was a high importance. And honestly, it's kind of like a master Jedi trick when you're actually interviewing customers. What did you all observe about just him as well? Like, think about his appearance.
It was basic.
It was basic, real basic, right? It was basic, okay? Real basic, real minimalistic. What's one thing that you have seen about me throughout the past 3 days we've been together? What's one consistent thing? Say it again.
You're not wearing a suit. You're being very casual.
Okay.
And that's create approachability.
Okay. And what's the one
funny black shirt all through?
Black shirt, right? So it's very interesting. So my trade is a user experience architect. So I'm more on the front end. I'm like the architect, right? That's my space, diving into the blueprints, user experience architecture, user surveys, split A/B tests, and I'm in all of that, right? Now, one thing I've kind of just gathered from that space, and then also being a facilitator of human potential, is I need to be minimalistic because it's not about me, right? Like, it's all about you all and making sure my energy and focus is here and making sure there's no distractions on this side. I can't come in dressing like Cam Newton, right? Like, Cam is fly, right? But I can't come in dressing like Cam Newton because it's going to be a distraction on the content that I'm speaking, right? You may like, oh man, that's a dope hat. Like, how did he get that feather in there, right? Or like, yo, how did that collar, like, you know, and how did he layer those colors, right? So the distractions are now all around the appearance instead of the actual content. So it allows you to actually centralize your content and have the user focus on your content that's coming out of your mouth. So therefore they can focus on going through the necessary tests that they need to go through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sweet. So when you're doing some of your user testing, you want to make sure that, okay, hey, how am I muted? Whether it's white, whether it's red, right? Whether it's like all black, all navy blue, whatever it may be. How are you doing your user testing in order to kind of mute your presence and amplify your voice in the meeting, so therefore their voice is amplified? Does that make sense?
Yes.
We'll put that in your master Jedi tricks for user testing. All right, cool. So I want to get back over to share my screen real quick here and show you all the environment within Miro of how you'll kind of go through some of this user testing here. All right. So when you're creating your test scripts, right? What we're going to be putting in each like section of your Miro boards is literally this flow from a user testing standpoint, right? In your mission package, of course, you're going to be testing with 5 users, right? And there's a lot of research and information about why 5 users is one of the main things that you just need as far as a minimum set when it comes to actually designing out your prototypes, okay? But what we've done is we've just taken a board and we just designed it from a standpoint of, okay, hey, let's do, as you see, user 1 is Vincent Hunt, user 2, user 3, user 4, user 5, and everything is color coded, right? So now I understand my feedback from user 2, my feedback from user 3, 4, and 5, okay? And then here you get into like positives and negatives, okay? So I understand that, okay, well, user 3 gave me a positive remark. User 2, I have some negative remarks. I have some positive remarks as well, and a negative remark, right? So it looked like it was made with the protester in mind. I like seeing what is nearby. The blue, I love the design. It was very intuitive. Green, I liked how easy it was to pick the day and see listed events, easy login and profile section. Cool, so what are some of the negatives? Well, slow logging in. Organizer not clear on how event would be advertised, right? I think it would be good if there was a way to donate to the orgs, okay? And that is not necessarily a negative, but this group placed it in the negative section, but you can also create another section within Miro and just call it neutral, right? What are some neutral comments or just ideas or feature ideas that a user will give you, okay? What's a feature idea? Was actually a feature idea and equality idea that the user had communicated to the surveyor inside of that customer interview. What was one piece of feedback she gave at the end?
That was male geared. It didn't have enough females in it.
Exactly, right? So, light bulb. Okay, cool. Let's bring more women into the space from a visual depiction, because that really begins to influence whether this is a app for all that's male driven or it's a mixture of like all the sexes, right? And so very important to think about those things. Okay, here's another remark. I think local organizations to support should be under local protest, meaning I feel like, hey, this category is off, okay? So you're gonna get information, and as you get that information, you wanna log it, okay? So as you're going through your interviews, what you wanna do is you wanna have somebody who is doing the questioning and another person who is taking the notes, okay? If you noticed, the surveyor was not writing down notes as he was listening to the information, okay? He wasn't doing that at all. He was just listening to the information. They had a camera running, but there probably would have been another person at the table just taking notes, okay? Now, when you get to more elevated spaces, you're generally gonna have like a room where there's a glass, right? Somebody's on the other side taking notes, kind of like the interrogation room, right? Most focus group rooms look like that as well, okay? You'll never know. It's like, oh man, this window is so cool. Like this glass is so neat, but it's really some people on the other side, okay? This is how big companies really begin to test products in micro environments to really get a sense of, okay, hey, are we on the right track from a product development standpoint, okay? So here again, like you can see the notes, right? And you can kind of capture that here. You can tell this note is not from any of the users from the color coding, but you want to create that section for the notes, all right? So as you get into your user testing, you want to make sure you have like this board in your Miro environment, which I'll go ahead and load up for you all, in order to actually meet your mission that you have for today and tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, I'm going to share that link with you all in Miro as well. And it's going to be right inside of your, let's go to team 1. It's going to be right inside of the Wellness Center. Has anybody been playing the music in the Wellness Center, checking out the motivational videos? Y'all just been building.
I actually watched a few of the videos. They're pretty cool. I didn't get to the music and the yoga though, but
Cool. All right. So your Wellness Center, which is going to be right here, we're going to load that into day 3 for you all right, which is going to be right in here, user testing and prototype. So I'm going to load the prototype section over for you and the user testing, so therefore you guys can have that ready to rock and roll. Does that sound good? Cool. Okay. So additionally, I want to show you all another thing and another one. Where Khaled at, man? When you need them. When you need them. Okay. So is everybody on Instagram? Show of hands.
Yes, sir.
Sweet. So I'm going to share my desktop. And I'm going to minimize this. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, great. So one thing that's very interesting is that oftentimes as young innovators, you guys do not realize what tools you have to build. Here's why. Sometimes your orientation to like the technology that you have has only been from a connection and community standpoint, but not from a collaboration standpoint, right? It's taught you all how to connect with each other, but not how to collaborate. But you have access to a huge community on your phone through some of the apps that you all use, whether it be Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn. Like just think about that. With one click of a button, I now have access to search out people all across the globe. Just put that into perspective. I know it's kind of hard because there hasn't been enough exposure and lived experience. But when you're my age and you have some exposure and lived experience, you're like, golly, like I really have some access to some powerful tools. All right. So what I wanted to do is just like, I put together this tutorial for you guys, just like an example of how to really begin to reach out to users on Instagram. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of walk through it. I'll load this into Miro as well, so you can have access to it. All right. So as I said, let me see if I'm in the right space. Okay, that's example 1, example 2. Here's the orientation. Boom. Okay, cool. All right, so here's a tutorial on recruiting users on Instagram, micro-learning for the modern innovator. That's you guys, okay? So first things first, you wanna develop your pitch for action, all right? Now, you know, like I know, in the Instagram landscape, you don't have a lot of time, okay? Somebody will skip your story real quick, and I know y'all checking out them insights. Believe me, I know, all right? So you wanna make sure that your pitch for action is very brief, okay? So what are the major keys here? You wanna be simple and direct in your ask, okay? You wanna create an easy path for people to answer that ask, and you wanna respond with gratitude and instructions, okay? So in these examples, I provided you both a video, like two examples, one written and another video. So let's look at the first one, okay? So example 1, and here's some like sample text. So friends / homies, call out with an emoji, all right? I need y'all help for real, okay? Put it in the context. I'm working on this project to create social change and we need some testers for about 10 minutes. Insert the time, insert the day and time, okay? Then what's the next thing I'm gonna do? Next screen. Our project is about X and it's meant to help Y. What you do is the X, the Y is who it's serving, okay? Hey, this is the platform we're building real quick. Here's who it's helping real quick, or here's who it's serving real quick. Y'all tracking with me?
Yes.
Great. I appreciate it, Jared. I'm gonna get the rest of y'all off mute in a little bit. I feel it. All right, so we are building Z to do it, okay? So our project is about X, it's meant to help Y, and we are building this to do it, okay? Whether it be a mobile platform, app for a phone, web app, whatever you're building to actually take that to the next level, okay? Then, now it's time to build your call of action, okay? So you already gave him the jab, here's the hook, okay? Can you support us, right? leverage the stickers within Instagram in order to capture information very swiftly. Hold on, my battery is dying. Let me just get some juice, okay? So you want to leverage like the stickers that you can actually ascertain information within Instagram in order to actually capture information from the people who want to help out. You'll be surprised, you'll be surprised how many people are so busy in the observing stage that they want to get engaged in what you're doing, right? Like, yo, man, they're posting some cool stuff about this BDX at Microsoft. This is mad crazy. Like, what are they actually working on? Then you share what you're working on, and then you provide them an invitation to get engaged and get involved about it. Make sense? Is tracking?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Still got Jared. I appreciate you rolling with me, bro. Really do. Building my confidence up. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. Now, here's a video example, okay?
Hey, family. Hey, friends. Listen, I know I don't ask for much, but I need your help, if you don't mind. I'm in a virtual hackathon, and I could really use your help in being a test user for our application.
15 seconds, real quick, right? Getting into the next one.
So what we're building is an actual police complaint form that's online. It's very quick, that people can actually log in from anywhere where they are and actually begin to share that complaint that they have with a police officer in real time and keep track of that.
All right, next step.
So if you can help us out, it'd be greatly appreciated. Send me a DM message or actually answer our poll question in the next screen, and we should be able to contact you very fast. Thanks.
All right, call for action. Now, boom. Mechanism to actually grab the content, okay? So I'm gonna load this up in the Miro environment as well. But again, matter of fact, if you come up with another method and just kind of follow the formula, go for it, right? Not gonna stop you. These are just tools and examples to kind of accelerate your context, so therefore you can accelerate your experiments. Make sense?
Quick question.
Talk to me. I love Q&A.
So you know, like how yesterday when we were doing our our board, it said tablet, phone, desktop, and Apple Watch.
Yeah.
So is the prototype in all 4 of those methods, or can we just prototype one way?
No, it's what you want to build, right? We just want to create some forms, right? So you have a watch, you have a phone, you have a website, and then I think there's another one. I'm blanking. Whatever. Those are just the forms in order for you to actually create the prototype. Does that make sense? So that's for you to actually design, process map your actual prototype and the user experience. So it's whatever you all are deciding what your medium is going to build and how you're going to, what medium you're going to choose in order to actually communicate your in and all message to the end user, right? Sometimes it's best to be done through a web app. Sometimes it's best to be done through a mobile app. You just have to make that decision based on the feedback you're hearing and what you all have decided to create. Does it make sense, Zoe?
Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Dominique, what's up? You got questions?
Not at this very moment, I don't.
Okay, cool. I saw the little yellow box around your screen, so we're good. We're good to go. Questions, Q&A. Let's get into it.
Really giving us that energy. Real quick though. Okay, so because of the whole social distancing situation and the fact that we're not really all in the same place.
Yeah.
I mean, however, whatever creative way we get to record the interviews, is that okay? Because I could probably just call my homeboy that I go to school with and record the call. Or
absolutely, the quarantine is not an excuse to innovate.
All right, cool.
Not innovate, excuse me, right? The reality is technology is all around you. Matter of fact, if you even go outside before the quarantine, and I'm pretty sure afterwards it's going to be even worse, right? When people are walking around, their heads are down. I genuinely want to see the studies from a medical standpoint, how people's neck alignment is going to be in the next decade, because a lot of people are doing this. I recently, for the past 2 years, I started holding my phone up like this when I'm walking, right? Just all right, cool. And so it looks awkward, but I got to keep my posture straight, you know? That's the
Yes, that's a fun fact.
longevity. So yeah, quarantine's not an excuse. We're having a hackathon online. So you know the answer there. Let's go. Q&A.
What are some ways to like protect your idea when you're interviewing customers and for feedback?
When you say protect your ideas, what do you mean by that?
Like what if they get inspired by that idea or they try to run off?
I'll be honest with you, Trinae. I wouldn't worry about it. That's that's going to be a limiting factor as you go on to innovation. And I will say this, especially when you're doing customer interviews, right? Like your question should never even explain the idea of what you're doing to the end user, right? It should only talk cursory about the idea in the first place, right? And all of your questions are very like, depending on also too, like what you're testing. If you're looking at the actual like designs itself, that's fine. Sometimes you have people sign an NDA if you're actually going into a real test environment. I think for what you all are doing, I would not be deeply concerned about it. Not just like your team, but everybody on the call. Oftentimes I will say on the other side of fear is like great innovation. So just press past that and know how to have that conversation with the user in a very like cool and like collegial way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, if I could piggyback off of that, my sister's a serial entrepreneur. She also just does stuff with other entrepreneurs. I post her Instagram in the thing just in case you want to take a look. But what she told me, tells other people, is that fear is extremely limiting. And then one thing that will happen is that you can't really control the fact that if somebody wants to take your idea and do something with it, because there's plenty of people that see already functioning startups and want to do the same thing. And it's like you have literally no control over that, but you have control of your innovation and what you can do and how you make your product unique, because they can't do it like you, but they can do it in their own way. And you can do it in your own way.
Again, approaches, ideas, nothing new under the sun. But
hey, Dominic, can I piggyback off of what just?
I'm not gonna slow you down, dude. Come on.
No. Devin and I had a mentoring meeting this morning, and she raises a valid point. The watch, right, and the wheel. There are multiple different watches. There are multiple different wheels, and you always find something new coming to the market. So that's why I tell people, pursue your path forward, just like Amira said, pursue your path forward, because your vision for what that device can be is totally different. Who would have thought Apple and Google and Fitbit and all these guys would probably be outselling, like, Rolex out here, in these streets. So they're outselling the big boys, and they're making billions off of one invention that has already been around for thousands of years. Right. So that's what people have to look at. You have to push through the fear factor, but make sure, and we talked about this around patents and copyrights and all of that good stuff. Your A plus B plus C equals D. You need to be able to document that and be prepared to defend it, because people are going to come after you, because that A plus B that equals C right now, we have lawyers around here, and that's all they do. They go after people who violate our patents. So I have one startup that has 20 patents right now, and guess what? He hasn't even built his solution, but the first thing he had to do was defend his 20 patents, which he has done successfully, right? And now we're ready to move forward with them. But like I said earlier, be bold, be brave, be epic. I like your 2%. I'm gonna keep using that, my friend.
Let's go, D.
Thank you.
Grow by 2%.
The team is listen. Miles literally just looked and shook his head. Like Miles is doing videography right now, and I listen.
So much.
Whole mindset, 2% better every day.
There
Yeah,
you go.
and last thing I'll say is that people will stop caring if you kind of act very secretive about things. Like, because I used to work for a startup accelerator, not accelerator, but business incubator dummy station. And so I would scout out businesses for resources for them. And so when they're like, I don't really want to tell you, but I want all the resources. And it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to try to facilitate that relationship with me, you're basically just kind of shooting yourself in the foot from people that want to help you and want to get you to the place you want to be. So don't be so self-centric to think that somebody is just trying to take from you when they might be just wanting to give to you.
Right.
And
Hey,
also, Trinae,
Damon's
this
down there.
conversation is not targeted at you. Now, this is a
Oh
global
yeah, like this
conversation now.
generally.
Thank you,
Hey,
thank
Dom.
you. Thank you so
Damon's
much.
down
Dean, I
there
got
trying to get in.
Damon's hand is raised. He been, you know, he
I'm
looks
old
like
school.
the kid in Fort Greely right now.
I'm old school. 3 quick points. Number one, when we talk about fear, if you have an idea and somebody's willing to steal it, that means you have a fantastic idea. Roll with that. Number two, fear is not an actual thing. Fear is a response to the things that are happening around you. So keep letting those things happen around you because you never know when they're going to turn in your direction. And number three, real talk. How many times have you been walking when you were a kid or an adult in a dark room and you were afraid a monster was going to come out and get you? Now, how many times did the monster actually come out and get you? Fear is usually not based in what's going to happen to you. So keep doing what's taking you in that direction. If you got an idea that you think is right there, go for it. Don't stop thinking about, oh, well, this could happen or that could happen, because you can get hit crossing the street. You can get hit about all kinds of things could happen to you. So if you let that fear cripple you, you will never become the next Richard Branson or Jeff Bezos or any of them.
I want to piggyback on what Dean said about the patents. One tool that you can use is what they call a provisional patent.
Yep.
So the provisional patent, you can submit that, and once you have your idea formalized, you can submit that, and it protects your intellectual property during the period. And if you find that you have something really there, then you can take step and formalize and get a formal, or so, you know, a lot of times you see products and it says patent pending. That's because you know, they submitted the provisional patent and they haven't received the formal patent yet. But just starting with the provisional patent helps you kind of protect your idea up front and gives you time to build out and formalize, get the formal patent. Could you guys hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, listen now.
I actually have one more question before we move forward.
Blaze? What you got? It's 4:02.
All right, so I was just thinking out loud, right? And as much as I mean, I get what the idea behind the whole approach to the videos and trying to get people to be our testers.
Yep.
Okay, but I think the fact that, you know, where the current situation that we can't really be around too many people, the people that we might get on our social media platforms or however we choose to get creative with that might be willing to help us. I don't really want to get someone to agree with what I'm doing. I want someone to be non-biased. Let me know what you think. Criticize what I'm doing.
Wholeheartedly.
So, and I feel
That's why you
like
can get
we
your
need to
group
approach
partners.
Excuse me.
I was gonna say you could have your partners do the interviews. Like if we have a script, you don't want people who agree with you. You can have your partners interview people who are closer to you, so that way you don't feel like they're just agreeing with you.
That's
'cause they
awesome.
know
That's
you.
pretty cool. So you interview my friends, I interview your friends. All right, bet. Problem solved.
Here's another thing too, right?
Shout
Like,
out Team 7.
Here's another thing too, Blaze. Also too, you can leverage different hashtags, right? Because people are always searching different hashtags and searching for different things. And you may find a user who, like, you don't even know, right? They're not even following your account, but hey, like, they can engage with you. You can post it on LinkedIn. Like, hey, I'm hacking at BDX and Microsoft, right? Like, we're working on X, Y, and Z. And then Hell, leverage the Microsoft name, leverage ActHouse name, and talk about your project and let that circulate within the space, right?
I feel you.
There's
That's
different
great.
ways that you can gotta engage and get
Remember
more.
what I said
What's going
yesterday,
on?
my friend. Fall on your student sword.
Yes.
Fall on it.
Yeah,
Use it.
absolutely.
Leverage it.
Or student, please
Yeah,
let me.
because I'll tell you one thing, like when you get into your 30s, you ain't gonna find too much mentorship. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. So keep growing on that. Okay, listen, it's 4:04. I gotta upload your Miro boards, get everything ready to rock and roll. Let's get back after it. Let's stay working. Stay motivated. Stay focused. It's Humpback Wednesday. It's always a difficult day for no matter who it is, right? But if you can get over Wednesday and really press in deep, like don't try to like amp up your energy, but just get very strategic about the tasks that you need to take care of, right? And how you need to focus and collaborate. I guarantee you're gonna see some light at the end of the tunnel, right? Jared can speak to this. He's been in Build Day X. Peace and Trinae, they've been in Build Day X. Matter of fact, Peace has been in Build Day. Excuse me, Trinae's been in Build Day, like a full Build Day. And Peace was a former ActHouse fellow. So listen, focus your efforts, trust the process, build deep. Let's continue to go forward, all right?
Hey, Dom, can I say one more thing?
Nah,
Because
Dean, that was a
Amir
good
just made
closing,
a
man.
post.
That was a good closing, Dean.
I know it was great, man, but I have to shout out to Amira because
go for
she put the Facebook groups in there. Hey, you guys all believe in Facebook in some way, shape, or form. You are in school right now. Go out there, GSU. I know there's a Gram Fam site out there.
Listen.
Get on there. They are executives and some very important executives.
Yeah.
You can get some really good customer feedback from these people. Let's go. Leverage your universities. They're out there. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that people tend to congregate themselves on social media. You can kind of, I don't want to say weasel, but like kind of get your way in those groups and just be like, hey, I'm hosting a Zoom call for this and blah, blah, blah. Just introduce yourself. They're pretty nice. And then also at the same time, like sometimes people give you unsolicited advice too. So they'll give you advice, but it's like, it's good advice. It's like, okay, well, I didn't really ask you, but yeah. So your deliverable 6 is posted. It's due tomorrow actually, but it's just if you guys are almost finished with your prototype, you should go ahead and just start user testing. And by the end of today, you need to go ahead and submit your prototype and user test script, which is due at 10 p.m. EST, 9 p.m. CDT.
Sweet. And I'm gonna go ahead and post right now in content section the acquiring users zip folder for you all for those examples and test for acquiring users on Instagram. Sounds good?
Great.
Sweet. All righty, let's get back to it. Keep building, keep innovating, keep being great. I'm proud of you all. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me. Seriously, like I'm here. You don't have to sign up for mentor hours. Just plug me. All right. And we should be good to go. Sounds good?
All righty.
Peace.
Good job, my friend. Good job.
All right, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.
Bye.